He was one of the greatest and most majestic kings ever born on the African continent. For 13 years he ruled his home with immense power. He was a warrior. His roars were so powerful that they embodied the strength and might. Protector of a great pride. Father and grandfather to a new generation. He loved and respected his brother Leander deeply. He became a symbol of Africa. His name was CECIL, a fearsome lion, a magnificent predator. All living beings around him held him in great respect and fear. CECIL stopped roaring when a hunter's arrow took his life. And when that happened, the world stood up. CECIL's death was very painful for those who knew his story. His killing provoked the fury and sadness of many. He left behind an incredible story and also a remarkable legacy. CECIL was born to rule. The story begins in Zimbabwe, specifically in the region of Hwange National Park. In 2002, CECIL was born, and along with him, his brother Leander. Like all male cubs, CECIL and his brother Leander start life as small, defenseless felines, spending their days eating, sleeping, and inspecting everything that moves. When a lion is a cub, it already shows all the traits it will have in the future. And CECIL, from the very beginning, displays a distinctive personality. Few lion cubs manage to survive their first year, but CECIL's spirit and boldness, combined with the protection of a great lioness mother, made it possible for him. His brother Leander was more submissive than CECIL, and as time went by and they grew up, CECIL the lion displayed all the signs and traits of a natural leader. He had great self-confidence and always walked with a steady, proud gaze. When they ate, CECIL was the first to satisfy his hunger, followed by his brother Leander. When they reached adulthood, their father, a black-maned male lion, drove them out. To Cesar and to Leander, from that moment on, the two brothers would have to learn to live alone in the harsh African wilderness and discover the supreme law of every male lion. The king's crown is never easy to bear. When CECIL and Leander were exiled, they had not yet mastered hunting. They were inexperienced and were constantly in the territory of another dominant male, but as they ventured further and adapted to the nomadic life, CECIL led his brother, and they gradually perfected their hunting skills. And one night, they faced the ultimate test, hunting the great African buffalo. They succeeded. CECIL and Leander had now become powerful males, excellent hunters, and were fully prepared to take over and claim their own territory. And so it was. The two brothers struck the first blow and unleashed war in the northern region of Hwange. A male lion was in CECIL's sights, and seeing the power CECIL wielded, together with his brother Leander, he had no choice but to surrender the territory. At last, CECIL was a king. CECIL took charge of protecting the territory, and also devoted himself, along with his brother Leander, to leaving behind their offspring. They formed a powerful force that almost no lion dared to confront. After some time, a threat was approaching CECIL's territory. 4 strong males were coveting the territory of the two brothers. The leader of these 4 male lions was named Jericho, but he was a year younger than CECIL, and his mane was lighter. CECIL was confident that the leader, Jericho, would not be able to defeat him in a one-on-one fight. At the moment of battle, the 4 males decided to attack together. CECIL joined forces with his brother Leander, and in the midst of the fight, they became separated. 2 males against CECIL and the other 2 against Leander. The fight was bloody, and amid the chaos, Leander was pinned down. His brother CECIL, against all odds, defeated the other 2, and left one of them seriously injured. That lion later died. Cecil went looking for Leander and the other two, but when he arrived, it was too late. Leander was already dead. Leander left this world, leaving his brother Cecil alone and wounded. He had to leave the territory. He knew it was for the best, and so it was. Cecil disappeared without a trace and was not seen for many months. Eric and his two other brothers took over Cecil's territory, but this wouldn't last long, as they were about to encounter the most ferocious and powerful animal in the world. Jericho's two brothers were hunted and killed by man. They died without being able to sire offspring, and Jericho, just like the majestic lion Cecil, was left alone. Jericho disappeared and was not seen for months. Cecil's pride was left without a king. Cecil had not appeared for months. There was no sign or trace of him. They thought the king had died. One afternoon, before the heavy rain approached, a large lion appeared. His walk, along with a black and majestic mane, was unmistakable. The king was alive. Cecil returned to his lands, determined to reclaim them, but he did not appear alone. Surprisingly, he came back allied with his enemy and rival. Jericho had also returned. The enemies they once were had to join forces to keep surviving the harsh wildlife. They returned to their territory and became the undisputed kings once again. And a few months later, Cecil's offspring were born, among them 4 female cubs. Cecil lived a good life. He was a good protector, a good father, and treated Jericho like a brother. In the place where Cecil lived, hunting was forbidden. That's why Cecil never saw humans as enemies. Days later, Cecil's beauty, size, and that black mane would bring him consequences. A price has been put on the life of this majestic lion, and on July 8, 2015, it was the last time the great lion Cecil was seen alive. When this happened, the world was outraged. Protests, marches, complaints, lawsuits, accusations. The world stood up for Cecil's death. Perhaps Cecil's death was a turning point and a call to action for us to realize and reflect on how important the protection given to lions around the world truly is. And as the documentary mentions, Cecil's story and death were the spark that ignited a fire, shining a light across the world on the plight of lions.